Okay,
Or
now I'm recording.
hey,
Um, Hi Drew, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. This particular interview was a little bit different because you are the only person out of all the people that I've interviewed so far that I've actually talked to before.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
out
yeah,
of what, like 17 people or something like that,
yeah.
which feels a little special and nice.
It does feel nice. Well, it feels nice too because we haven't talked in a while.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, we
we haven't done
haven't.
a video call in a while.
Yeah, that's right.
I
Okay,
used to do that
I just realized I had to move my little like my what's it called, the video feed from my camera just so I can see you. Do you mind moving like a little bit more to the side?
oh, you want me to be in the middle?
Yeah, that's where I
But
want you
then
to
I
be.
can't lean on the
You can still
armor.
lean on it.
I
This
like to
this
get
is
so that
good.
I'm in the middle. I tried to pick an angle where I thought that I would be like the least distracted by myself. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Where like I wouldn't have to like constantly do this. So I was like looking at myself and being like, okay, you look nice at this angle. So I
Sure.
tried to pick an angle where I felt comfortable, like in general.
Okay. Well, I'm very comfortable
So
with
that's what I
whatever
thought.
angle we have going on now. So as long as you're happy with it, I think we're
I'm
good to go.
happy. I'm as
Okay.
happy as I'm gonna get.
How are you today?
I'm good. Yeah,
What's
I'm
your
good.
day
I woke
like?
up like a few hours early.
Okay.
I couldn't sleep, so I just did like doom scrolling for a
Uh,
while, and that was nice. And then I got up, I went and I got my coffee. I wrote for a while. I had a meeting. I looked at my fish tank. Uh, I put the wrong size Polaroid film into my Polaroid camera. So
does
I've
it?
been getting into like point and shoot.
Cool.
I have this really old Polaroid, the one that where you can see like all the hardware inside the housing. It was my
Oh.
parents and my
Wait, so
boyfriend's.
so like translucent plastic type deal?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
it's really cool. It's
Yeah.
really cool.
Nice.
And I tried to look up, how much it costs out of curiosity, and there you can buy them anywhere from like $50 to $400, and it just seems like that like arbitrary web of like sales on the internet that kind of like it's hard to determine the value because if you look for it on Etsy, it's like more expensive, but on eBay, it's like very cheap.
Yeah.
But anyway, I put in the film, and it just kind of was doing this like clicking and whirring sound, and it's the
That's not
I
good.
wanted to take a booby pic before I took a shower, but I didn't get to because I have to
Sure.
I have to get better film. I have to get film that fits in
All
there.
right, and we're off to the races. No, that's that's awesome. Well, good luck with that. I don't know if I feel like the film should still probably work because it's just like exposing it to light
Yeah,
should be
but
the
the
trick.
cartridge is too small, and the
Uh,
battery is in the cartridge, so it has to click into
okay.
the housing in a certain way, and then it has to like the mechanism inside has to like catch
Oh, I
on
see. Okay.
the part. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just too small. It's just like trying to grab it.
Well,
And
I wish you all the best in your endeavors.
thank you. I guess I'm gonna have to get a camera that fits the film and film that fits this camera.
Yeah, probably.
I'm only gonna get more successful.
So, I've been doing these interviews for I don't know, like a couple of months now. Um,
Yeah. How's it been going?
it's been really fun. I think every single person that I've talked to feels like we go way back. We're friends. Even though it's the first time we're talking, it's like, oh, we know each other. You know, like we share a lot of sensibilities and stuff. So I've been enjoying it so much.
I mean, you're a very easy person to talk to.
Why, thank you. But
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
not to everyone. I have my detractors, I think. Maybe,
Yeah, it
yeah.
does.
Yeah. But it's been a cool process, and I've started seeing more similarities across I don't know the group that I was not expecting. I don't know. It just feels like people have the same what's the word, contrarian viewpoint, or like the everyone I've talked to so far, they want to be a little bit annoying and different, and
Sure.
they're still like intelligent and I don't know, friendly and nice. But
Mhm.
maybe those are just the people that I tend to gravitate towards anyway. Um, but I mentioned this because I've done a bunch of them. I have my little like interview guide with a battery of questions that I'm still more than happy to talk to. But I wanted to check with you, given that I know you a little, and given that um, I've gotten a bit more familiar with the format. Is there anything in particular that you would like to talk about?
No,
Okay, cool.
no. We'll just see where. I mean, I only watched one of the interviews so far. I mean, I didn't finish it, but I started watching Danielle's interview. Um, she's so funny
She's
and
hilarious.
so
Yeah.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's so cool and funny. And so I got like a feel for the questions and kind of like the different directions they could go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're pretty open-ended questions.
Yeah. I mean, that was very much my like ambition. I didn't want to steer it too much in any one direction. Um, you and I, we go way back. I think of you and maybe actually Danielle as one of the few people that are quite similar in what we choose to share with the world and like
Mhm.
how we approach it. Not, when it comes to everything, but there are definitely like parallels, as far as I can tell. So I remember, when I first found your account, I was like, oh, a like-minded person and a nice person and someone that I will enjoy talking to.
That's
Um,
so
and shortly after we were in some group chat together, I can't remember. I probably just like added you or asked if you wanted to be in one, and I wanted to stay close to you because I knew that you did a lot of writing. But then when I actually like read your writing, I don't think I was prepared for how good it would be.
thank you.
So I was a little, starstruck. And writing to me seems like it goes hand in hand with whatever you post on your Instagram account. So like, where does that come from? Was that always the case? What's your relationship to writing, and how does it factor into your Instagram account?
How does my writing factor into my Instagram account? I mean, my Instagram account used to be a normal account. It used to be just like my personal account, but
Mm-hmm.
like posting pictures of my ass got boring, or just like selfies, you know what I mean? Like selfies of me in like different places or doing different stuff. And I kind of like wasn't having a very fulfilling experience. And I was bored with my own bullshit, and I was kind of bored just in general with the Instagram. And I like had all these folders of memes or pictures, cursed images, whatever you call them, and I've had them since, like, I've been building these folders since I got my first computer when I was like 12 years old.
Amazing.
And so I when I started the newsletter, I was sort of like, how do I integrate memes into the newsletter, but also have them live in a separate place from one another. So I just kind of decided to turn my Instagram into a meme account, which it is, but it's also still my personal account because I post a lot of stuff from my personal life.
Mm.
And I connect on a personal level with a lot of people
Mm.
there. And um, I just wanted to not only use my Instagram to connect with like-minded people, but also to like drive people to the writing.
Mm-hmm.
So they're enmeshed, but they're also separate. And I don't know. I mean, all of it is kind of a reflection of me, of my mood, of whatever I'm thinking about at the time. You know, I feel like I can go back in my Instagram and like remember what I was going through, what I was thinking about at the time based on like what I was posting. If I'm sad, the post is sad. You
Yeah.
know, if I'm in
Yeah.
a really good mood, the post is more jovial and lighthearted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Definitely. So you said you've been saving these images since like forever.
yeah,
Um,
for
why?
I don't know what compels the collector to collect.
Are you a collector?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Am I a
How,
collector? Yeah. Am I a hoarder? What's the difference? What is the difference? You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Um,
But how does that manifest in your everyday life?
I mean, now I'm into this point and shoot thing where it's like I've just bought like 12 rolls of film on eBay
In the wrong size. Yeah.
in the wrong size. So I gotta
Yeah.
get another camera. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I've started like posting my garage sale finds and shit like that.
Hmm.
I'm getting really into like good girl dresses where like nightgowns, old nightgowns, or like really like sister
Victorian. Yeah.
type, you're not allowed to leave the house style dresses.
Yeah.
Like I've started like collecting those, and then at some point I'll move them on and I'll sell them at a stoop sale and I'll start collecting something else. And it's always like, I don't know, I feel like I am always compelled. I get really interested in the things that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
And the internet has always been one of those things that I've been super, super interested in, terminally online.
Do you see it changing or fading or turning into something else? Will there be a time when you're like, Instagram was the sister wife dress at the time, and now I'm gonna do something else?
I don't know. I mean, who knows? I love Instagram. I love Instagram. I think that what is it, Instagram? It depends on who you ask, you know?
What is it
Uh,
to you?
To me, it's a vessel to connect with other people. It's an archive for me of my moods. It's like a journal, like a
Mm-hmm.
photo journal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's a place where I go to laugh. It is though. I curate. Not only do I curate my Instagram, but I'm like super careful about like curating my experience on the internet. Um, because it's very easy for me to fall into a fucking hole of like I'm looking at someone else's shit and I'm like, damn, I wish I was like over there doing what they're doing, and they look so happy and like they have their shit together, and like why did I had a drug problem, as you know, for a long time in my 20s,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes I look at people and I'm like, oh, if I could have just done this, then I could have been like further along like this person. Or it's like I see someone is younger and more beautiful and it makes me feel bad. And like I need to fix my physical appearance more, or I need to fix my lifestyle more. I should be drinking more smoothies. I want to travel more. I don't want to look at all of those things that kind of like send me into the spiral,
Mm-hmm.
or any spiral. Like this morning I was reading about like this like high value man, high value woman shit. And it was kind of like, I was watching the videos, I was watching the podcasts of this guy like bullying these women and kind of, asking them why they think they deserve to be with a high value man when they're acting like trash,
Mm-hmm.
essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Fun to watch for an hour. That's really all I have the room for it.
But
You
then
know
it
what I
gets pretty dark pretty fast. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
so it's like I'm careful about what I'm looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Like I go to my explore page and I intentionally click all the horse videos
Mm.
and like manicure like nails and shit, or
Sure.
like hair extensions or whatever I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Like I'm not it's hard to be online when you're not like gatekeeping your own experience.
Yeah.
Because when you're letting in all of this different shit, it's really easy for a lot of negativity to get in. And it's easy for me to feel insecure. So I'm like, you know,
I have a similar experience, but it was on YouTube. So I love watching um, like documentary stuff to learn more about the world, and one topic of interest for me is just like the body and medicine and those types of things. And so I found this great like reality TV thing, which is essentially just it's from a what's it called? Not ER, family doctor practice in the UK, and people come in and they go like, "Oh, doctor, my thing hurts," or and whatever it may be, and they just sort of follow these people that come there, and they're kids, and they're old, and they're healthy, and they're sick, and all everything in between. But then I saw a couple of episodes that drilled into specifically like dementia and
mm,
people like going into cognitive decline because of old age, and it freaked me out to the point where I was like close to having panic attacks.
sure.
And then since I watched these things, YouTube was like, "Oh, Simon clearly loves the dementia videos," and then I started getting them in my feed, and it was getting to the point where I was like afraid of looking at my homepage on.
Oh yeah,
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 yeah, I have to just to your point, like curate an experience that feels like it's constructive and positive, because I
sure.
can spiral into places where I just think about, the futility of life, and start to watch everything as being sort of on the arc of life, and it's like, oh yeah, marriage and work and having kids and stuff, and then I think, oh yeah, the old age and death
You're
and
like
sadness and grief. Yeah.
um, same, obviously.
Yeah.
The dementia vids, no, I don't want to see the medical
Don't
vids.
don't
I
do
don't
it. Yeah.
want to see like there's a lot of this stuff, people fucking arguing on podcasts about like what it means to be a real woman or a real
Oh
man.
my
And then
God.
it's like this person's in the fucking what happens when you drink 12 bottles of Robitussin, and then it's like this, you know what I mean? Like I can't I like there's certain dark shit that's like for me my like comfort content, which
Yeah.
is like kind of like true crimey stuff.
Yeah.
But even with that, it's like there has to be like a
To a
fucking
point. Yeah, for
cap
sure.
on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
I don't know, it's so easy to go down the path of like, I don't know, just to get that sort of emotional response that drives clicks or whatever. And you can tell that it's backed by, the doing things enterprise or whatever it may be. Like there's big money behind it. And then it starts feeling so exploitative, and it's not, I don't know, like a dignified life anymore, really. It's painting the picture that people are like good or evil, and I don't want that. I just want to have like a nice time and smell flowers and learn about the world.
Sure, I understand what you're saying. I would challenge the having a nice time thing because like I want to have a nice time, but I also want to like be challenged. And like I don't know that I'm gonna find like a challenge on like the podcast where it's like fucking people fighting and bullying each other about, whatever they believe in is correct. But I do enjoy meaningful discourse. I feel like we've had meaningful discourse where we've disagreed
Yeah,
on
totally.
things, and it's been like, um,
That's part of having a nice time. I meant more like
oh,
engaging with things that are uh,
sure,
purposefully inflammatory, or
sure, sure.
just like trolls or edge lords or whatever it may be.
Oh yeah.
People that are just
Can I
jerks.
just say that I
Yeah.
love to block people?
Yeah.
I love to block people. I love to block people.
So tell me more about that. How do you do it?
So my block list is at almost 200,
Wow.
and it's growing almost every day. It's growing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like part of curating that experience for myself is that like sometimes I do get inflammatory comments,
Mm.
and it's not if there's a comment or a message that's like trying to start a discussion or that's, giving me information or perspective that I haven't thought about, then I'm like totally willing and eager to like engage that.
Mm.
But comments that are just like someone being a dick or like someone being like transphobic or homophobic or racist or mean, whether it's mean to me or mean to another person in the comments, like I don't fucking know you, and I'm not going to sit on the internet and be like, and I'm a sensitive person, so like I will get fucking bent out of shape, and there's been comments where like I think about that shit for like mad long
Yeah.
afterwards,
Yeah. No. Same.
hours,
Yeah.
where I'm like, I can't believe, and they don't fucking know that this and I think about all the things that I could have said or that I can then say. And whatever unpredictable response I get in return always like brings up a new set of anguish,
I
like
get it. But
reason.
so you mentioned people that post inflammatory stuff and that you block them. Do you ever block people you know? Do you ever block people you like?
Um, no. Why would I block somebody that I like?
Because maybe they present themselves in a way where you feel like this is not healthy for me, or this is not good for me long term, or our relationship has run its course, or whatever it may be. There are reasons why you would excommunicate someone, even if
Oh yeah, I guess
yeah.
I mean I think that the friendships, like actual friendships that I've had with people that have ended, I've blocked some of my ex-boyfriends just because I don't think that it's like healthy to look at each other's. And there was like one thing where like I was doing one of those question and answer things, and my answer was related to something that happened between me and my ex, and I
Mhm.
just thought that it was not nice for them to be looking at the we don't talk anymore, so there's
Mhm.
no reason to for that like this kind of like ghost interaction to happen.
Hmm.
So I've blocked people that I don't want to look at anymore. Like I blocked exes that I'm like, this is not healthy for me to be.
So trolls and exes.
Yeah. And promotions from fucking Ghost Jewelry or whatever the hell
Yeah.
it's.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Um, 200 people. Okay. How many followers do you have these days?
I just hit 66K this morning.
Holy smokes! Congratulations.
Holy smokes.
That's pretty big.
Yeah.
Um, how has that changed, like your follower count? How has that uh, changed your relationship to Instagram?
Um, I don't know that it really has, to be honest. I'm like sometimes a little wary to post like a picture that has like identifying information in it, you know?
Yeah.
Like usually honestly for every negative interaction I've had, there's like 20 positive interactions.
Yeah.
So it's like the reason why I block people is because I don't want to focus on the negative shit. Like I want to focus on the positive stuff and the
Hmm.
connections that I make. And I do have a lot of like positive interactions with people, whether it's like I'm like want to identify a plant I have, or I'm like I wrote this and and people are giving me feedback and saying, hey, I related to this, or I'm sharing music, or um like sharing something that is meaningful to me and other people can like fossils, you know what I mean, where like I found some fossils and then like people were able to respond
Yeah.
based on that. I
Yeah.
don't know that it's changed so much. Like I kind of have just been myself the whole time.
Yeah. No, I get it. But at some point, with more people seeing what you do, they can have maybe a more new, sorry, nuanced view of the things you post. So not only will they be able to see like, oh, fossils, but they'll be like, this is a pterodactyl, or this is,
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
like it becomes a little bit more um, granular at each step.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
at least that was my experience, but I never made it quite as
Yes, you
big as.
did.
No, I had 62 or 63.
Oh
So
my fucking God. It's the same shit. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. But I think that your interactions were probably a little different
yeah,
on some level because you do a lot of political stuff.
yeah,
And I don't know that I do as much political stuff. I'm like more of like a you're like a new Planet Earth uncensored. I'm like
I am.
uh
Yeah, sure.
I'm like a, a sadness and joy exist in the same space
Yeah.
person, you know?
So if someone has never seen your account before, like how do you describe it? What sort of things do you post?
Um, you said that my account was irreverent once,
Oh, I
and
did.
I still don't really know what that means, but
Yeah,
it sounds really nice.
that's good.
But I don't know that I don't think that I don't know if you're allowed to like describe yourself as that. I think that's like maybe the way that other people are allowed to describe you. What would I say about my own account?
Mm,
I try to touch on like a universe I mean, I don't know that there's anything that's like completely universal, but I try to be as honest as I can about where I am at in my life, in my posts, in my writing, and in hopes that like I will touch on a feeling that is as universal as it can get, relatable. I don't know. I try to talk about stuff that not I do talk about stuff that I think is often considered embarrassing or um like just nuanced interior life
yeah.
stuff, you know?
I don't know the word in English, but you share a lot of yourself, like shame and darkness within yourself. You yeah, you put that on display,
Yeah.
at least sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, and I think I mean that's to your credit because it makes it a lot more interesting to see someone who is experiencing things that not a lot of other people talk about, but you experience them too. First of all, I mean there are a lot of people that feel the things that you feel, and especially in your writing, I think that comes through a lot. But maybe in whatever reposting stuff you do too. Um, but also a lot of people are pretty actively like disincentivized from sharing things openly because they rely on family dynamics or
Sure.
an employer or whatever it may be, and they're afraid of actually sharing these things. So like
Sure.
I know a ton of people that are hilarious but they never post anything or they barely even say anything out of
Yeah.
fear of repercussions. But I feel I my view is that you are you're not really you're unencumbered by those things in lots of
Yeah,
ways.
I mean, I don't have a typical job. I work for myself. I
Yeah.
don't have like a boss that I have to worry about. Sometimes I worry about in relation to my writing, like what if a publication that I really want to, publish with sees my meme that says that's like a pelican with all the veins on its neck and it says me when I put a flashlight up to my ball sack and they decide like, oh, hey, this doesn't really like fit our the New
Yeah.
York audience like doesn't want to like go to your page and see this shit.
Yeah.
But I made a commitment and I constantly like refresh this commitment to like be myself. I don't have to hide from anybody. Also, like I don't have a big family.
Hmm.
I actually don't really have any family, so I
Hmm.
don't have to worry about, like the politics of I go somewhere for a holiday dinner and people are like, "Hey, like why did you do this?
Yeah.
You're bringing shame to the family."
Yeah. And it I speaking from experience, it can be more less or more sensitive depending on time of day and the family member and their mood and whatever it may
Sure.
be, right? Like it's something that that a lot of people are affected by, that I'm affected by sometimes too.
Sure.
Talking
Yeah.
to people in the right sequence and saying the right thing and making sure that you include people, but you're also excluding in the right way. And it's just
Sure, sure.
what a
Yeah, I
mess.
really don't have that experience. And like I've also been like my whole life kind of outspoken about the stuff that I believe or
Hmm.
so I definitely have I don't want to say lost relationships, but I definitely have like ended relationships or don't have relationships with people that I'm related to because we have different belief systems and I just don't enjoy their company.
Yeah.
If
No,
that makes
fair
sense.
enough. Yeah.
And sometimes like even when I'm talking about it here, I don't want to like say too much because I still like if they should ever watch it, I don't want to hurt their feelings.
Hmm.
But I mean, the reality of the situation is that like I have separated myself in a way that I don't think that I mean not everybody has the like enjoys that privilege where it's just easy to kind of be like I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, and I mean, people change and evolve, and I've come to find that, not everyone has to agree with me on everything, and I can still enjoy someone's company, or enjoy someone as, a friend or whatever, even though I think that they have like completely wacky ideas on a particular subject. I just sort of steer clear of that one, and
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, agreed to an
to an
extent,
extent.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think I'm pretty accepting generally, like unless something affects me personally in the moment, like I don't have to probe into it too much. Yeah.
No, I understand what you're saying. I guess for me personally, like when it comes to like interacting with like family or what have you, I just and this is just my shit. I think I do believe that in a private room,
Hmm.
it's as important, if not more important, for me to like uphold the same beliefs that I say that I have online or in a diverse group of people in front of it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I'm not like it's just and I know that like and this has been like also a topic in therapy which I've been in for a long time and in other areas of my life where it's like oh you're not going to like change the world and it's like yeah but those are just like my morals and my beliefs and like if I can't in good conscience walk into a private room and close the door and just like let all this stuff slide unchallenged that in public in front of people who it would hurt that I would you know what I mean like I'm not just going to stand up publicly and be like I can't yeah this is wrong and then when it comes to like because it's uncomfortable and because I have the choice and I can let it go
Hmm.
it doesn't feel right to me and that's just me you
No,
know
and I agree with that to an extent too. Because as someone who enjoys like shock humor, or really poor taste comedy and those types of things, I think done right, those things can be
what's
amazing.
poor taste
Well, like anything that I've ever posted, like I like highs and lows.
poor taste
Well, there are certainly things that are in poor taste when it's like just pee and poop and vomit and
oh you think pee and poop and vomit are poor taste that's not what I was thinking of at all I guess I was thinking more about like
bigotry
jokes.
and stuff. No, I totally
No,
understand.
I wasn't thinking of bigotry. I was thinking more of like even jokes at like the expense of like someone who has died are like could be considered in poor taste, whether or not it's like the public has decided that they've deserved it or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Joke
yeah.
is like
Fair enough. But
that's my
hear me out. I think those I don't know, like those topics when discussed with a friend openly or in poor taste, like knowingly saying, what we're talking about is outrageous and stupid and like could get us fired or excommunicated or shunned
or like
from the
group chat,
village.
like those group chat memes.
Totally.
Yeah, sure.
So if you think of it that way, it's like here are things that I don't believe in, but I'm gonna pretend as if I do because you know me well enough to know that this is not what I mean,
Hmm.
or we are in a space where we can joke about stuff without fear of repercussion because we trust each other to that extent.
Sure. Still depends on what you're talking about.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because if you're talking about that when it comes to like racist jokes or like transphobic jokes, which I know that you're not because I know that that's not who you are, but I just want to like caveat that with like, it's like that clip out of context sounds like it could mean any of those things. And like in that area, definitely not.
yeah, yeah. But you have to consider your audience. Is I guess my point.
Sure.
And I think for me, Instagram has always been a very anonymous exercise where I get to sort of veer outside of what I would typically talk about, and express things that I don't necessarily believe to be true just because I want to see what the reaction will be, or how people talk about it, or how it fits into their timeline of here's
What do you feel like you've expressed that you don't believe to be true just because you wanted to see a reaction?
I think I'm a much more visceral on like my anonymous Instagram compared to how I portray myself and when people know it's me. I
What do you
don't,
mean your anonymous Instagram?
sorry.
What do you mean your anonymous Instagram?
Oh, so I think of my current account as being fairly anonymous, and my previous
Oh,
account,
okay.
like
I
fair,
guess I don't think of it that way because you have a face attached to it. You're like posting music. It's like,
yeah, every so often. But I mean, compared
sure,
to
sure.
a personal Instagram where
Maybe it's
like
just me
I've
because
met
I know you
everyone
already.
in person. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know. It's an interesting channel for communication for sure, and I think I mean I've certainly found a lot of people I like and friends and stuff, and I feel like it has opened my worldview a lot just from
Oh yeah.
being on there too. Where's your account going in the future? How do you see it changing?
1 million followers.
Yeah,
I want to a sponsorship from um, that company that makes the little vitamin tablets that you put in your water. It makes like a fizzy drink because I've been drinking them every day. I want a sponsorship from Yeti.
nice.
I
Wait,
have to think of the other sponsorships I want.
me too.
Oh hell yeah,
Yeah,
hell yeah, dude, shit. Yeah, I love it.
yeah. See, we're all the same.
I mean, I just like would like to. I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. I have a problem setting goals in my life, I
Hmm.
think. So it's like you ask me a future oriented question and I'm like, ugh. Um,
Can we get
I
into that? Because I'm curious about that now.
why I have a problem setting goals.
Yeah, like what's the
Um,
problem? What's the
I
hurdle?
think that part of it is like practiced behavior because I was a drug addict and an alcoholic for almost 10 years. And I really, really, really practice every day thinking about that day or that week and maybe that month, but certainly not the next year. Certainly not what I wanted for my future. And not because I didn't want a future, but I don't know that I like could handle thinking about it, you know?
Yeah,
So I think that now that I am, and also because, in the future at some point there's death inevitably, which is so scary to me. So I am really good at like burying my head in the current tasks
hmm
in my like my I love to make fucking lists.
hmm
So I could make like bad lists and just be like in my lists. And then you're like, yeah, but what about the future? And I'm like, ooh,
yeah.
I don't know.
But I agree with that. I think thinking about the future is important and it's good and it's constructive
Yes,
to an extent. Again, like because if you live too far into the future, then you're going to be miserable today, or you're going to miss out on a lot of important things in life.
sure, sure.
But yeah, so like the way I approach I think life in general is to have um, a lot of goals that I'm okay if they change, but taking like steps that are meaningful in achieving those goals, but that I enjoy doing. So like what's inside of my control and how can I adapt my life accordingly, but thinking, one day this will lead to being healthier or being more fulfilled or being happier in some way or whatever it is that aligns with my current belief system. And then I always think, if I just write it down, it makes it a little bit more like here's something that I can work towards. And then I'll sit down every so often and I'll think about it and I'll be like, you know what, this actually doesn't make sense to me anymore, or this was
Sure.
misguided or immature or vain or whatever it may have been. Um, so like I like the idea of having goals, but people that are too what's it called, the on the horse, horses, the
Blinders?
yeah, blinders. If you
Yeah.
have blinders to the world around you in the moment, like you're gonna miss out on a lot of good stuff.
True.
Yeah,
True. Yes. No, I agree what you're saying about like it's important to have something to move towards because if you're just moving around,
yeah.
kind of like floating through like the nebulous zone,
Hmm.
you end up in a place that maybe it's like even if I didn't reach the goal, at least I'm like somewhere in it's not even necessarily proximity, but I can see myself in relation to it
Hmm.
and I can see how my needs have changed and like is it still something that works for me or not? And I mean really doing this account I did have goals for it. I still have goals for it where it's like I was like I want to hit 50K by I don't remember what month I set, but I way surpassed that.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then there were other ones that I didn't quite meet, but I'm moving towards there. Like I think that I wanted to have like 2,000 subscribers to my newsletter
Hmm.
around this time, and I just hit 1,000.
That's
But
amazing. 1,000. Yeah, you should.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it does feel awesome because if I had set no goal for 0 subscribers, then I wouldn't be doing this.
Hmm.
I wouldn't even like and all of the things that have come with it, which is like I've made a lot of meaningful
Hmm.
connections and like my writing has progressed and I have something to keep me accountable, a deadline.
Hmm. Do you ever
My
go back and look at previous things you've done, both on Instagram and in your writing?
I do.
Hmm.
And I do. And
How do you feel about it?
I mean, I look at the beginning of my newsletter sometimes and I see how like scared and apprehensive I was to put myself out there. And I would like kind of start on one topic and then like as soon as I would start to get beneath the surface of what I really was thinking or feeling,
Hmm.
I would like make a joke and jump to another topic, which is like kind of an old communication style of mine, which is
Hmm.
like make it into a joke and then like deflect so that I don't have to feel vulnerable.
Hmm.
And I was really afraid, and I could see in my writing that I was really afraid of being vulnerable because I was scared. Like, what if someone is like, fuck this, you suck, or like your feelings are dumb, or
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
dumb.
You think
And that's
this is
so weird.
important? Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, like you think you're fucking important. How dare you do something for yourself?
Yeah, putting yourself
How
out there,
dare you
terrible.
try something and practice something?
Yeah.
And that was like my voice inside
Yeah, yeah,
myself.
totally. Which is
And
again like very relatable. I feel that way in lots of different arenas of my life,
sure,
where I yeah, like putting yourself out there means that you're exposing yourself in pretty real ways that could affect your confidence or sense of self or whatever it may be. It's
for
scary.
sure,
Yeah.
for sure. And as I started to, I can see like the progression as I started to get more vulnerable, and like I really only got not only positive feedback, but like mostly positive feedback. Because most people, when they see something they don't enjoy, they just don't engage with it.
Yeah, totally.
Most people are not going to sit there on something that took a lot of work and be like, "Fuck this, I
A
hate it."
handful of people, I guess, but yeah,
Sure, sure. And the
but they're
people who
not reasonable, and you shouldn't care about them.
to be honest, the people who have done that, it's
Yeah,
like the responses were so kind of ridiculous that they
yeah,
were
yeah, exactly.
comical
Yeah,
to me.
that's how I always thought of followers or fans or like any sort of celebrity or fame, that you have the vast majority of people that interact with you are positive. Then there's like a ton of people that never interact with you. They just like, or they share with their friends, or they do something else, and you're not even part of it. It's just purely parasocial. And then there's like a tiny little subset of people that are like your detractors or haters or the trolls or whatever. But like what you see the extremes, and for what the extremes are, for me at least, the positive vastly outweighs the negative. But then there's
Totally.
so much in between where I have no idea what people have to say, and
Sure.
they're
No,
just sort of sitting by the sidelines and uh, judging, I guess. But like, who cares?
and that like I want to reiterate the importance of fucking blocking people
Yeah, yeah.
because it's like so easy for the negative voices to like feel or seem the loudest.
Hmm.
And like sometimes people have asked me like how do you deal with or like if I post something, it's like I get a lot of responses that are like sorry that you had to deal with that.
Hmm.
And yes, but also it's like I think it's so important to just get rid of all the shitty comments. Like I am so much freer going online and fucking going on Instagram and like not having to even see or deal with any of that shit. And that's not to say that like I should never feel uncomfortable. Like I said,
Yeah, that's my next topic.
conversation.
Yeah,
No, I love, and there's people who have corrected me, and I love that.
yeah,
Like I'm not always going to be right, and that's good. I want to grow, and something that fucking super scares me about getting older is that like I sometimes see older people who are like super super set in their ways and they don't want to learn anything new, and I
yeah,
find that to be like so scary.
yeah. I agree.
I always want to learn and I always want to have a challenging conversation. And I'm not talking about people who are like challenging. I'm talking about people who are just like, oh, I can't believe you fucking think, of course you think this, like, you know, something derogatory or demeaning or belittling.
Hmm.
And it's like that shit that gets your blood pressure rising, that makes
Hmm.
you feel like you need to like defend yourself. No.
Yeah.
Um,
So to me, the important distinction is like when things are done in good versus bad faith. I think people can be nice to you in bad faith, and people can be sort of really challenging in good faith.
Sure.
I have a handful of followers that are like really really challenging. Like they put me in my place sometimes and make sure that I don't get away with being lazy or doing a shitty take or whatever. And I am so appreciative of them. But if I just take them in like isolation on a per basis sort of comment or whatever, or sorry, per case basis comment, then I would be like, this is a jerk or this is an annoying person or why can't you just laugh at the joke kind of a thing.
Sure, sure.
But I really there's one person that comes to mind particularly, and I've told him like I appreciate how much of a hard time he's giving me. So Isaac, if you're watching this, thank you. You're great. I'll probably leave a nasty comment in the comment section. Yeah,
Oh,
but
yeah. Yeah. And also, just to clarify, like, there's people who, like, sometimes I post stuff and, like, people don't, like, one person might think it's entertaining and another person might think it's really
yeah,
sad.
yeah,
Or I might post something because I understand that there's something depressing, absurd and comical and depressing about it. And someone might not understand that and it annoys them and they don't like it and they express that they really
yeah.
didn't like seeing it. And I'm not talking about that. Like, that's, I understand that, like, everybody's experience is different.
Do you ever take stuff down? That
Sometimes, not often.
what was the last thing you
Oh
regretted
God.
posting?
I posted this fucking video of a woman who was, and it's like, it was this no context video with like a comment from a unaccredited source just saying like this was a Karen who did something bad and they were being arrested. And it was like a teenager in a hospital was like filming the woman and she said something. She like turned and screamed at the teenage girl in her face, like, how would you like to be covered in cum or some shit like that.
Wow.
And it was like a horrible video that was like absurd and dark, and like the line how would you like to be covered in cum had an air of dark comedy to it, even though it was coming from this like horrible situation.
Sure.
And I posted it, and most of the feedback that I got was like overwhelmingly like, yeah, you should take it down because you don't know the context of this video. And like, if she were being abused by her partner, which we don't know, like, it's, and obviously she's having a mental breakdown and it's sad and it's not nice. And they
Mm-hmm.
were right.
Mm-hmm.
And I took it down
Hmm.
because I was just like, it's like, I kind of was asking myself, like, what is the purpose of leaving it up?
Mm-hmm.
Because it was a video that I watched several times just out of like fascination
Yeah, I get
or
it.
curiosity.
Yeah.
And I wasn't like, haha, like laughing at her. But I guess I just really had to ask myself, like, what my motive, it wasn't like spreading anything other than negativity.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
was
I
like,
get
they
it.
are right. I was wrong to post it and I took
Mm-hmm.
it down.
Cool. I yeah, I think about stuff like that sometimes. Everyone in the world, they have bad days, and someone out there, a lot of people out there will have the worst day of their lives today, and they will have a breakdown or they will do something that's rash or not too considered, and increasingly there will be some person with a cell phone recording it and posting it somewhere, and
Sure.
like the extreme things sort of bubble up to the surface, and I mean both you and I and a lot of people that I've interviewed, they post a lot of more extreme things for that exact reason. But I think if all you do is curate the stuff that stands out too much, then yeah, you'll have a very blunt view on like humanity because there's so
Sure,
much
sure.
like good stuff in between.
Yes.
Yeah. What makes you like a new account? Like, what was the last account that you followed? Or rather, why did you follow the last account that you started following?
Who did I start following? I love accounts that have like 70 followers.
Yeah, same.
Fuck, I don't know. I'm getting really into this like fucking like point and shoot aesthetic, like emo suburban or emo rural, like the way the light hits a patch of grass type of shit, or like an unreal utopian bedroom that's like the light is coming in, or like the rain is hitting a garden in a certain way, but it's like very grainy 90s looking. That's, I'm kind of like going
What?
down
Why
that.
do you like it?
It just creates a nostalgic mood
Mm-hmm.
for me that I really enjoy.
Mm.
And a lot of stuff that I would consider emo creates like a nostalgic mood for me that
Mm.
I enjoy. So I've been like, that's just what I've been like connecting with. There's a account that I really really like who does like mood board fashion posts,
Mm.
and their name is God's Least Favorite, and I think it's a zero instead of an O,
Mm.
and they are like really really underappreciated because they create these like really really cool mood boards with like not only are the pictures the like it's the quality of the pictures too, because some of the stuff will be like screenshots from like eBay auctions for like good girl dresses.
Mm.
um
Nice. Okay. And conversely, like the people that you block in this list of 200, what was sort of the reason you last blocked someone? What was the straw that broke the camel's back?
Fuck, I don't know. I mean, I honestly I do restrict people if they message me too
Mm-hmm.
much. um so they first go into restriction and then they go into block.
Mm.
But Ghost Jewels, I block all that shit. I don't know, because I honestly don't I don't hang on to the comments so much. Like, I really think that Instagram is a great tool, and I understand why a lot of people feel super conflicted about it, because it can be used to really damage your psyche,
Mm-hmm.
if you're not careful.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's a great vessel for connection with other people. It's a great archive. It's a great way to like keep a journal. And just like being careful to not let that shit in. So I honestly couldn't even really tell you the last time. I know that I blocked like 3 people 2 days ago, and I really don't remember what they said. What I remember, one vaguely was like a demeaning kind of like, oh yeah, you fucking millennials all think XYZ, in response to a comment I left on a CGI Paul Walker post.
Yeah.
And I just like, it's fine that they didn't agree with my comment, but that's not like a way to, that we're not having a dialogue at
Mm-hmm.
that point. I was just like, bye, like,
Fair enough.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah. I forgot what I was gonna ask you. Hold on. Let me look at my list because I know it was something. It was something good. Um, oh yeah, yeah. So okay, you're in your DMs. Like, how do you interact with people in general? Do you have a ton of conversations going? Is it just a handful of people? Like, what's the actual behind the scenes stuff? What does that look like to you?
It depends on like what's going on in my life. Like sometimes, I mean, I am a super online person.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'm busier, and like I don't have time to respond to people's messages, my own friends' messages. Sometimes like I leave them on red or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes it's like, oh, and I posted a bunch of shit about my plants, and like I had a bunch of different conversations going about my plants. Or like every month when I post a newsletter, I have a bunch of like writing related conversations.
Mm-hmm.
I can't respond to everybody, obviously, especially because like or it's not that I can't, I don't want to respond to everybody. And there's like a lot of, like little one-off messages that are, there's nothing to necessarily respond to. I try
Mm-hmm.
to respond to everybody who comments on my writing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more careful with men, to be honest, because it's that's like a slippery slope often. Not always, but often. Um, so again, like I try to give everybody like the benefit of the doubt, unless I out the gate have like a weird feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoy talking to people
Yeah.
online.
Yeah.
I always have. So
I'm getting that sense from you
doing it.
too. Yeah. Uh,
I love being on Instagram.
I remember what I wanted to ask. So you mentioned that early on you had like your private page or your personal page, I mean, and you would post pictures of your ass, I think was the word you used. Um, have you ever gotten in trouble with Instagram, like guideline violations, anything like that? And
Not
by
for my own ass.
uh,
No, I'm
have
shadow banned right now.
yeah, so that was the extension. You have this this journal that you know chronicles so much of your life in different avenues and is the foundation for a lot of new followers that find your writing, and you've built something up over several years.
Yeah.
How do you think about the the possibility or the risk of getting deleted or losing it all? Like, is that something that you factor into to
Giving
how
me
you post?
anxiety, Simon.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I mean, I did get my account suspended before, and it was suspended for like a few months, and I
Yeah.
really was like, it fucked me up. Like, I was really upset about it.
Hmm.
Like I lost like a lot of conversation. I lost conversations with people, and I wrote about it because I was really bent out of shape about it. I
Hmm.
lost conversations with like friends of mine that have died,
Hmm.
and like, or friends of mine that like our entire friendship is archived, and like my own archive, and then I randomly got my account back after I had like moved on and not expected it. But
Hmm.
like, I mean, you're reminding me that I need to fucking download all my shit again because like I am shadow banned right now. When fucking Ted Kazanaki died, I thank
Wait,
you for
Ted
correcting me.
Ted
Oh, okay, we're
Ted
gonna correct.
Kaczynski?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
When he died, I posted a bunch of memes of him, and the only one that got flagged was the one that had his full name in it. Um,
For what, like terrorist organization, something like
yeah,
that? Okay.
yeah, and it was like, rest in peace. You would have loved AI and its consequences. It had his fucking full name, and the other ones didn't, so they kind of just flew under the radar. And then I got shadow banned.
But
Um,
it happens. It happens to me all the time. I reposted something from someone just a few days ago, and like within a minute of me uploading it, it was taken down, and it said like we've removed this post
Insane,
for
right?
whatever ridiculous reason. But it wasn't something that I even posted. I literally just like share to my
Yes,
story something stupid that someone else had posted,
yes.
and it wasn't even bad. It was just, I don't
Yeah,
know.
mine was a share too. I wasn't even my post.
Yeah.
The fucking robot gotcha.
Yeah, but
I mean,
it clearly it doesn't apply equally to maybe they look at things like your posting history or the number of younger people that follow your account. Like I don't know what
there's
informs that.
more. Yeah, there's more shit going on there because there's
Yeah,
definitely like some other questionable shit that I see getting posted. I'm like, how the fuck is this still up?
totally.
My shit got flagged. But I understand, like, as a larger account, and like, who know? I don't really know how getting reported works. Like, if that really, if like they review those very well or not.
Mm.
Ultimately, like, I'm playing by their rules.
Yeah, of
And I
course.
try now to
Yeah.
be more careful than ever. And that's like sometimes if I have like a weird feeling about it, I either post it on my backup or I don't post it at all.
Mm.
Just 'cause it's like, Instagram is this really awesome vessel, but it's not like a public service. It's a private company, and so it's like I have to kind of try and respect.
I have an idea. So this is my idea for how the world should be run. But when you get to a point where a private company offers a product or a service that is like foundational to how people communicate or move around or interact with each other. When there are a billion people using the communications channels, or when enough people are buying the car, or using the logistics centers, or whatever it may be. At that point, shouldn't we reasonably have some sort of government that comes in and says, this is part of the public good. Here's a medal or a lot of money to whoever founded it, but you're not allowed as an individual private enterprise to own that much of something that is like a foundation to how society is run. Isn't that sort of the point of government and like the public good?
Corporations are people now, Simon.
Yeah, that's
So
great. Thank you,
sorry.
Ronald Reagan. Yeah.
Sorry. Very sweet idea, but like not gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's a nice idea, and I agree with you. Would that work better for me?
Hmm.
Hell yeah. Would that work better for you? Sure. Yes.
But if you look at things like for us, I mean, very privileged little bubble that we post things for fun and culture and laughing and learning more about whatever it may be. Um, but people using Ubers to get to the hospital, or people using um, Facebook to talk to members of Congress, or their local I don't know, representatives or hospitals or schools or whatever it may be. It's like the people that the like six people that own all the communication channels in the world and all the media and all those things, shouldn't they be viewed as public infrastructure because they are effectively? Crazy
Yeah, what
world.
I'm talking about is a utopia, and that
This
just is.
utopia of like reason.
I mean, I completely agree with what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, I, I don't disagree with you even a little bit,
Mm.
but I also understand that as like an idealized outlook, and also
Mm.
just like for context, I'm in the U.S.
Mm.
and so I don't know what it's like in a lot of other countries, but in the US, healthcare is not a right.
Mm.
You don't have the right to live. Like, you need to prove that you deserve to live, and you need to prove that by um, paying, being able to pay
Mm.
for like life saving treatment. And if you can't, then like, you know, we don't. So it's like you're talking about stuff that like I think would come even after this basic shit of like maybe taxes should not mostly go to the military.
Mm.
Maybe they should go to like public health care, but we can't even agree on like basic shit like that, you
Mm.
know? And by we, I it's hard for me to even say we because it's like who is we? Because it seems like most of the people in my circle that I know do agree on that. And that's who I would say, like, you know what I mean? But it's like those are not the people who are in control.
Yeah.
And so I'm not like so well versed in politics, but I do think that our government is super fucked up. I'm not like a proud American patriot, or maybe I am. Maybe being a proud American patriot means acknowledging that the government is fucked up. Both parties suck ass, and like the entire system is it's not broken. It works the way that it was built to work, to serve a very small fraction of the people in this country.
So I think it was Abraham Lincoln who said he has a right to criticize who has a heart to help. And I think again, like criticism in good faith is important. But the reason why I thought of this, and sorry
I think
if I
Abraham.
went into a tangent, was you mentioned Ted Kaczynski, which yes, convicted murderer and terrorist in many ways. But this is someone who,
In many ways.
well, I mean, he did things I didn't necessarily agree with, but also like if you look at some of the viewpoints that he had, you can't mention his name without getting shadow banned. And I'm not saying that you read about someone who murdered people like, and then all of a sudden they should be shunned for eternity. I don't necessarily think that's true, or we wouldn't have many people left in the government to listen to. But when there's a dissenting viewpoint that veers away from the pro corporate sort of life that we've been taught is freedom, um, then all of a sudden we can't even talk about it, which I think is so scary when I look to Instagram or Meta or YouTube for that matter, that it's held by such a small group of people with such outsized influence, and
I,
we
I,
just have
I
to play along.
but I will say that like with the Ted K shit, it's
Mm.
like how does he an an algorithm is how do they separate like the people who are like discussing from like not even that, but it's like you're talking about a person who did just kind of like indiscriminately murder a bunch of people. And I'm not saying that like sure there were kernels of truth in his manifesto, which was
Hmm.
also super racist by the way.
Hmm.
Um and so there's like it's hard to defend him. You
I,
know,
I agree, but then you can look at um, American presidents, past and present, that have indiscriminately like drone bombed children's hospitals, kind of a thing. Like it's
horrible. It's all horrible.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
all
So who do you
I'm
listen to?
not like I'm not gonna fucking sit here and be like, I
But
pay
that's my point. I wish that it was more open to bigger ideas and dissenting ideas, because I think that's sort of how we progress as a society, where
sure.
where,
I think it's important
whereas
to have a dissenting idea and not like send mail bombs.
so that I agree with. Yeah.
I do think that the reason why so many of the Ted K memes are like relatable is
Hmm.
because of those fucking nuggets of truth that he
Hmm.
has in there, and also because there is like an air of desperation, and it's like the outlet of being like making a suicide joke or saying oh I'm gonna kill you to a friend or whatever, and it's
Hmm.
like very I understand also in US culture where like now mass shootings are just kind of like a daily occurrence,
Hmm.
that it's like harder to separate and to like decide who's being serious and who's not.
Hmm.
um but
But that
There was
that that again, like it's so funny
people.
to me because the conversation around like how do you actually make that better? It's like, well, clearly we need to start by banning the drag shows and the trans people, you know.
Yeah, but you're also talking now about like right wing, a right wing group of people versus like the Instagram algorithm, which I guess also is a right wing group of people, because as you're talking about certain videos getting taken down. But just to finish what I was saying, like
Hmm.
the Ted K memes, what makes them fucking funny, like the ones with him where he's like a cat boy and shit
Hmm.
like that, is that like there is a fucking air of desperation among people where it's like, what is my outlet for feeling this like existential crisis, like melancholy and
Hmm.
malaise, like,
Hmm.
and yeah, it's like sometimes I feel like fucking Ted K with Catboy.
But that's, I mean, all these valid points, all these valid feelings that people have that, you know, they don't see a place for themselves. They don't want to have kids. They don't see a future. They can't be homeowners or what, you know, whatever it may be. It's like, yes, those are valid things. They can be traced back to the egregious, what's the word? Egregious, right? Yeah. Inequality all over society. But then it's like, no, let's distract from that and let's like abstract from it because they are clamping down on, you know, people that are criticizing things so openly. So you end up in this place where you have distractions everywhere. You have, you know, yeah, immigrants and trans people and whatever else it may be. Critical race theory, that's clearly the problem, you know. Um, and you see the billionaires having a great time and hanging out on their private islands and doing whatever it is that they do.
Saying if you were a billionaire that you wouldn't fucking hang out on your private island.
I would like to suggest, in what I hope is all sincerity, that I would never be a billionaire.
Okay.
Um, I
I'm just saying
yeah,
that like it's like I'm not defending fucking billionaires, but I do think that like it's the whole thing is fucked up. You
yeah,
know, like
crazy world we live in. But again, like I think what we see, what you mentioned, Ted K with the bunny ears or you know the catboy ears, it's like yeah, it's all we have in terms of joking about you know the sort of bleak outlook on life. We have to make fun of it and then we have to abstract it because it's becoming increasingly controlled. Like, no, you can't speak freely, you can't joke about certain things, and the things that are like indescribably horrible across society, can't talk about that at all. So you
you
just
can, and you just can't do it so openly on Instagram in a certain way that like triggers their fucking.
right, but given how an increasing volume of communication is taking place on Instagram, if you take Instagram away from people, they're isolated and alone, and then they have even fewer people. So, like to me, I see it a lot of like tiny little.
I don't think they're
Yeah.
isolated and alone. I think that people like Instagram. It works for a reason. It's easy for people to look at pictures and videos, and like it's easy to connect with other people who have the same tastes as you.
Hmm.
But it's still, I understand what you're saying about
Hmm.
like it's a public service and it shouldn't be privatized.
Hmm.
But the reality is that it is. And
Hmm.
so it's like, yes, there's still Telegram, there's still different forums. I understand what you're saying, and at the same time it's like kind of this like it's not fair argument, and
Hmm.
it's like sure that may be true, but that's reality, you know.
Yeah, I agree. But like that's where I see the danger of social media, where if your account in this example is deleted tomorrow because you somebody seeks out an old ass post of yours and they go report.
They're
They
all gone.
oh that's unfortunate. But yeah, okay. You know, if your account disappears tomorrow, you have a lot of friendships, including with me, that would be you know lost
You
until
wouldn't be
you.
my friend anymore if my account got deleted.
I don't think I would know you to begin with if you didn't have your Instagram account. If I didn't have my
I
Instagram
understand
account,
what you're
right?
saying. I listen, I get it, it sucks, like it fucking sucks, you know, like seriously, when my account got deleted, I like sat on a park bench staring into space for like several hours. I was so fucking upset.
And when you do that, you can't organize and overthrow your
I started over.
yeah, okay.
You have to start over. I think the thing also is that like it's like I understand that people feel disheartened when their account gets deleted or when something gets taken down, but I feel so sad for, I don't want to say sad for them, but I feel so like a sense of like, what's the word for feeling like no, when someone is like, fuck this, I'm not doing it anymore, I gave up.
Hmm.
Because I'm like, no, you're so special, and like I connected with your account, and like keep going, it's also this fucking, it's partially a vanity metrics of like how many followers do you have. And I understand that like it's not entirely that, because having 66,000 followers gives me a way larger
Hmm.
audience.
You have a
You
platform.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
a bigger platform than somebody who has 100 followers.
Hmm.
But like there's a reason why I was able to grow that number in the first place. And like I just kind of committed to like continuing to be myself in that space, because it gave me those connections that I had in the first place. And to not,
Yes, but I disagree a little because you were unable to talk about certain things because you were shadow banned recently when you did talk about certain. So like it limits
sure,
sort of the scope of what you can
fair,
actually say.
that's fair. Yeah, I mean, and that's like the fucking, I guess, the struggle of like trying to, because there's accounts that I follow that are like on their fourth and fifth account, and
Yeah,
like I love their content,
yeah,
and they're always going to get deleted, and
yeah,
like I
totally. But
always
that's kind
try
of
to,
part of the fun. Yeah,
it's not even part of the fun, but it's just the reality of the situation is that
yeah,
like that, yes, it sucks.
yeah.
And like I guess, yeah, I'm like, what you're making me recognize is that I'm like coming at it from a place of privilege where like I don't post that many things that I guess are on that cusp to begin
Hmm.
with. You know what I mean?
If you get to
Sure.
so back to the vanity metrics and the different platforms. If you get the 2,000 followers on your newsletter, what happens then? How does that change your life in any way if it does?
I'll make an OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Uh, no, I mean it's the. I don't know. It's a good question, honestly. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know
So
what
what
happens.
happens if you get 50,000 followers on your writing, or a million for that
It
matter?
makes it more likely for me to make the kinds of connections that I want to make.
Hmm.
It's like you go to a party and you meet 20 people and you connect maybe with one or two of them,
Hmm.
and I think that it's like it's a possibility for me to connect with more people.
Yeah.
I think that I don't remember how many like followers I had before I met you, and then I
I
met,
think you and I have been sort of neck and neck
yeah,
up
I think so
until
too.
April,
And I think,
where
but I think CGI Paul Walker, I didn't meet until I was really like, and it's not so much about like I mean, it is about the followers, but it's also about like me being dedicated to the craft of like
yeah.
writing, or the craft of like this
But that's what
medium.
I'm thinking. If a day will come where you get recognized for your writing to a greater extent than to whatever's going on Instagram, would you abandon Instagram, or does
No,
Instagram sort of always have a space in your heart?
no, I love it. I do it because I love it. I'm not doing it because I'm like, I need more people to look at my writing. I would
It's
like,
not part of
yes,
the funnel to the writing. You're saying
it
that they
is. Of
exist on
course
equal
it
terms
is.
too.
No, it is. It
Okay.
is. But I'm using something that I really love and I feel very passionately about.
Yeah.
Like I genuinely love Instagram. I love images. I love memes. I'm like very serious about all that shit. Like
Yeah.
that, I think that, it's something that I hear like people say who like run meme accounts sometimes, is like this being like, "Oh, I know it's silly," or "I'm just doing whatever." And they kind of like minimize it, and it's like,
Hmm.
"No, I don't think it's silly.
Hmm.
I love doing it, and I I'm lighthearted about,
Hmm.
like the Instagram world.
Hmm.
But like I think that part of why I've been able to connect with people is that I'm like taking myself seriously,
Hmm.
and kind of like allowing myself to feel like what I'm doing is important, and
Hmm.
also allowing myself to really enjoy doing it and to love doing it, and not feeling embarrassed about it, and not feeling like I'm wasting my time or doing something stupid.
Hmm.
Like, all these other people don't think it's that stupid.
Hmm.
Um, and even if
I
they did,
agree with you. I feel the same, honestly. Like, it's clearly not black or white, but there's a reason why we've spent so much time on there. Like it facilitates relationships. It expands our thinking. We learn things. We have fun. Like I laugh at my phone every single day.
same,
Yeah,
same.
which is like that's not a given in life. I think to be that sort of entertained in ways that feel so hyper specific and personal, and yeah, I don't know, it's
Same,
connecting
and
me
I
in good
like
ways.
you said, I've learned things. Like I really like, I do like reading the comments. I like to see
Mm-hmm.
up different people's perspectives. I've learned new things from either like meme formats that like have some like socio-political message, or just like someone's perspective that I wouldn't necessarily have seen if not on the internet,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Um,
Yeah.
and it's like I don't see it as like, all right, well, I'm eventually gonna stop doing it. I think I've been kind of collecting stuff way before Instagram, and I just didn't have a place to share it. And
Mm-hmm.
so sometimes I would just send it to my real life friends. And some of them were like, this is funny. And then some of them were like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, just like you said, you're like interviewing these people that seem like you know each other. There's a sense of familiarity
Yeah.
because you're connecting on like uh, a level that is kind of you skip a bunch of small talk and you just get to this like universal feeling, and you're like, wow, I didn't know that other people felt that way, or like, oh, we really connected on the same joke that I'm not going to make
Mm-hmm.
within the first 5 minutes of meeting someone at the coffee shop.
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
For sure. Um, Recommend 3 accounts that you really like.
um 3 accounts that I really like. Yours, that doesn't count.
Doesn't
uh,
count.
I already said God's least favorite, so
Mm.
I got to think of 3 other accounts that I really really like.
But
God damn.
but they could just be, like accounts that you think are funny that you've interacted with lately, ones that go way back. It doesn't have to be, the universal truth. Just 3 accounts that you think these are a part of my positive experience on Instagram.
I really like an account called Aquarium Reflections.
Oh yeah.
That's a cool account. That's
Mm.
like a cool aesthetic account that I
Yeah.
really enjoy.
What? Why do you like it?
They provide a lot of like good feeling posts,
Mm.
like good feeling nostalgia posts,
Hmm.
cute stuff. Um, I always enjoy seeing their posts. I really like an account called Who Do I Talk to? I guess you know what? I don't really like. He's gonna laugh. He's never gonna watch this. I CGI Paul Walker is like one of my closest friends in real life. I don't really fuck with his content, and I don't really fuck with his account, but I've met him through memes and I love him. He's
Yeah.
one of my dear friends. I don't recommend his account. So he's number two. He's my not recommendation. And then number three.
I would just, to his defense, there are some hits in there, I think.
There's some hits in there.
Yeah.
There's definitely some hits in there. I'd have to endure like 20 posts that I'm like, why the fuck do I have to look at this to get to the one where I'm actually going to take it and repost it?
Yeah.
And his comments are so bad. They're so toxic. Um, and god damn, give me a second. Who was I talking to today? I'm trying to think, you know what I'm doing? I'm trying to think of like an account that I feel like is like smaller,
Mm.
because my like inflated ego ass is thinking like so many people are gonna watch this and then like go follow
That'd
it.
be really nice. I feel like we're lucky if like 300-400 people watch this. So yeah.
I really like an account called 5HTP Blanket Song
5HTP
underscore, I think,
underscore
Blanket Song.
blanket and one word song.
And they are a tattoo account, and
Mm.
they just gave me a really cool blaster
Oh,
on this
cool.
dumbass bullshit that I really didn't like underneath it, and it's a really cool like Y2K ish scribbly scrabbly.
I like it a lot. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, and then a couple of like closing questions that I have. One is, what's something that you wish that more people knew?
What's something I wish that more people knew? That there is a way to feel seen, and that like you're not in like your worst or most shameful or most embarrassing feelings on your worst day, you're not alone in those feelings. And like your weirdest quirks and your biggest social anxieties, like you deserve to feel seen, and there are other people who can see you and who definitely relate to you. You're not alone. You're not a weirdo. You're not the only one.
Why do you wish more people knew that?
I think because I spent a lot of time feeling super lonely and feeling like I was the only one who was like couldn't struggle to make friends or felt socially anxious or felt like or struggled with addiction or whatever the case may be in all of its nuanced forms. And only when I started like allowing myself to show up in space as myself and not who I thought other people wanted to see was I able to genuinely connect with other people. And that was like a huge life-changing revelation for me. And I just
Nice.
want to encourage other people.
When I was 12, I grew up in Sweden. In Sweden, it's very common to use something called snus, which is like snuff chewing tobacco, something like that.
Mhm.
And you put it under your lip, your top lip. And I did that between ages 12 and give or take 20. Or maybe like with a year break in there. And yeah, it was something like 8 years. And I always tell people, best 8 years of my life. Uh, which clearly it wasn't. It was disgusting. But yeah, I think back fondly at that time. Um, sorry, I just thought of it. Um, is there anything you would like to ask me?
Um, where do you see these interviews going? Like, what's your hopes for these interviews?
The reason why I started this to begin with is just like, here are my internet friends, people that I don't know. I don't even know what they look like or where they live or who they are. Many of them, not all of them. Um, I think they're amazing. I wish I had a way of staying connected to them or understand more about them or learn more about the behind the scenes stuff. So this is a very like indulgent exercise for me.
Hmm.
But to me, it was something that I thought of. I will do this in spite of the cringe of being, you know, using the podcasting format or posting things online. I just thought, here are people that I think are cool. I wish I knew them more. And then I thought it would be nice to share that with others and
Hmm.
to record it so I can go back in the future and I can look at it and I can think to myself, I had a meaningful conversation with people that I actually like look up to and admire. So that's, I mean, mission accomplished. Kind of, if a million people watch this, then good for them. I hope they enjoyed it. But I'm doing this for me to just like capture a moment in time where, I did spend a lot of time on Instagram and I did connect with a lot of people, and I just wanted to have something to show for it because every so often I'll see like an old screenshot on my phone and it's from some account that I can't even really remember
Hmm.
what it was anymore. I just, I never see them in my feed anymore. So I'm assuming they either quit or died or closed their account or whatever it was. And it just feels so like, oh, because it is a really like human experience behind all the funny pictures. And I just wanted to be a little bit closer to that. So where it goes, I don't know. It feels like it's a stupid idea to just post this on my YouTube channel, which is like me doing synthesizer tutorials and playing music and stuff. Should probably be housed in a better, um, more like deliberate,
Just different,
dedicated.
maybe. And
Yeah,
now that you're doing, I mean, how many? I mean, now that you're doing, what this is number 18 or something.
something like that. Yeah.
How many more are you planning to do?
I was thinking 10 would be cool, but then I realized I actually like a lot of people, and now I'm thinking maybe 20, maybe 30. Like I don't want to go on just forever.
Hmm.
Um, but maybe I'll just say like here are Instagram admins that I really admire, and then I'll branch out and say like here are synthesizer people that I really admire, or
Sure.
politicians or anything else. Um,
Sure.
so who knows where we'll go? I'm excited, like looking back now, spending over an hour talking to people in depth that I like. When you do it one time, it's like, wow, that was really cool. And then you do it 2 and 3 times, and it's like, okay, I have a couple of friends and people I really like. But now it starts to feel like there's a community. And if someone's interested in any one of the people that I've talked to and they continue watching the rest of it, like there's a lot of stuff to get through and hopefully something that will widen your perspective like a little bit or learn something new. And I hear that from people every so often too. So I feel like what I've done has already, according to my metrics, been like a success. But then wrapping it up and putting a nice bow on it, I haven't figured it out yet. But maybe like a standalone channel or an interview channel, because yeah, Yeah, who knows? What should I do? What do you think?
First of all, I think you need to fucking make the link, like, put it in your bio. Because I was trying to do like prep work by watching, before which I am going to watch all of them and listen to all of them because it is like a podcast. I don't know why you called that cringe.
There
Um,
are enough podcasts in the world and so many bad ones. Like it's not.
that's why it's good that there's another good one, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe. I don't want it to feel like it's scripted or it's trying to sell anything because it's not. This is literally just look at all the
Yeah,
cool people that are out there. I get to
coming
talk to
across.
them. Yeah,
Yeah, but like your intention is coming across. So it's like what you want is like your. It's very heartfelt, and that comes across. And I think that
thank
that's
you.
like the most important thing. And like, yeah, sure, there's a lot of bad music. Does that mean that people should not fucking make music anymore?
I've
You
thought about it. Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. I don't know if I agree with that. I think you should put the link in your bio so that people can find it more easily.
Yeah,
And I think that you should like probably cut up some of the like
the best
the
of.
sound bites
Yeah.
and make little reels or whatever. You could make its own account or just post it on your account.
Mhm.
Um, maybe you fucking should start I mean, this basically is your podcast.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. Okay, sorry. I have to go back to my list. What was this conversation like compared to your expectations?
Oh, it was really more chill than I expected it to be. I'm like, can be neurotic. And so, like, the idea of being on camera, I mean, I told you this. I was like, oh, I'm like, you asked me a while ago to do it when you'd only done a couple people. And I was like, I don't know. And I only said no because I was like scared of being on camera
Hmm.
because I start to feel self conscious. I feel like I can't stop like watching myself or like hearing myself talk in my head. And so I was nervous that I was nervous about being nervous. I was nervous about like feeling super self-conscious the entire time and then being like, oh, you're stupid. Um, and
Yeah.
I feel like it was more chill. I mean, I feel very natural talking to you. We're friends, but you're
Yeah.
also just like an easy person to talk to. And I see that come across in your other interviews. And that's why you're good at it,
Thank you.
Simon.
I appreciate that a lot. I'm gonna press the end record button in a moment. Right after, I'm gonna just upload this to an unlisted link on YouTube. I'll send it
Mhm.
to you. You'll have a chance to review anything. If there's anything that you prefer I edit out, or if you
I'm not
feel
even going to watch it.
okay, well,
I'm just
and
going to let you post it because I don't, yeah, it's like just get it cracking. You know what I
cool.
mean?
Okay, I like that. But just so you know, in the future down the line, if you ever feel like no, I don't like this being out there, or I'm in a new situation in my life where I can't be associated with this interview, whatever. Let me know. I'll take it down. Like I'm doing this because it's a nice, fun thing, and I want it to stay that
Yeah,
way, including if you ever want to change anything. So like,
I
just so you know,
appreciate that.
you have the nuclear option of having this video deleted down the line if you so
Hell
choose.
yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for taking the time
Thanks
to
for
talk to
asking
me.
me to do this. Thanks for being patient with me.
Yeah, of course, of course. If I hear anything, if people send me comments or questions or whatever it may be, I'll keep you in the loop with that too.
Hell yeah.
And have a lovely rest of your day and weekend.
You too.
Bye.